Welcome to the Fascia-Informed Therapist, the essential podcast for occupational therapy professionals looking to deepen their understanding of fascia's pivotal role in therapy and health. I'm your host, Amy Mayer, an experienced occupational therapist, practice owner, and dedicated educator. Here we'll dive into the fascinating world of fascia, exploring its significance in the human body and its critical influence on occupational therapy practice. Each episode will bring you cutting-edge insights, expert interviews, and practical strategies to help you confidently integrate the science of fascia into your therapeutic approach. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just starting out, our goal is to equip you with high-quality, evidence-based, and fascia-informed continuing education opportunities that will enhance your skills and benefit your clients. So join us as we unravel the complexities of fascia and transform the way you practice occupational therapy. All health and wellness practitioners are welcome. Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Hi, this is Amy, and this is another edition of the Fascia-Informed Therapist. And I'm recording today from Green Valley, Arizona, where it's the middle of December, and it's in the mid-70s, and it's quite lovely. So I'm staying with some friends, and my friend and I attended a conference in Phoenix for 3 days. And then I'm down here working and staying with them, doing some writing on the book and trying to get some other business tasks done, but integrate that also with some nice walks. They have a cute little dog I take on walks, and they live right next to a reserve. Arizona, I think it's Arizona State University has a nature reserve, so there's lots of really nice places to walk, and this is just completely different scenery from what I'm used to in Omaha, Nebraska, especially this time of year. There was a pretty significant ice storm, I guess, in the past several days, so not sad I missed out on that. So back to the conference. I want to tell you a little bit about it, even though it's not about, doesn't have anything to do with fascia or myofascial release or rehabilitation or occupational therapy. The conference was called Business by Design Live, and it's a live component of an online course I'm taking called Business by Design. The course was created by a person named James Wedmore, and I found him from listening to his podcast. I don't even remember how I found him, but when I started listening to his podcast, I really, really was attracted to his approach with business, because as an occupational therapist, and this is true, when I used to teach the management classes, the marketing piece was the piece that turned the students off the most. And even when I was in management, the idea of asking my therapist to go and do marketing was just so unappealing. And it was unappealing to me as well until I had a really good friend who ended up working for me for a while at the hospital. And she's like, it's just education. All I do, I go with my clients to their appointments and I just educate the doc on what we've been up to and their progress, and they really love that, and they see what I do and how much I help their patients, and it's just all about education. And so that was the approach I started using when I taught the management class, and it makes so much sense. So even though that's true, marketing is still pretty unappealing, and I feel like one of the things that I'm not very good at it I feel like I'm good at a lot of things. I'll give myself a compliment. I'm really good at working with my clients. I'm really good at teaching, but I am not really good with sales. And sales is really all about helping people solve a problem, getting people what they need in order to make their lives better. So anyway, I'm attracted to the podcast that he created called Mind Your Business, and because it's all about mindset. And as an entrepreneur, I would say an unlikely entrepreneur, I have to think differently because as an occupational therapist, my main goal is helping people, helping my clients, and now helping therapists learn about fashion. I feel like when, I'm sure this is true of a lot of you, when we don't do that, we feel bad. When we don't get the outcomes our clients want, we feel bad. So not getting the information that I want to get to therapists kind of makes me feel bad. So how can I do better at that? And anyway, the podcast just really helps me get my head right when I'm trying to put what I know out there. It's vulnerable. It's very, very, very vulnerable. But at this conference, it was some really good tips on how to make a better podcast, how to put better content out there, how to market your content better. But it was way more about mindset and being authentic. Authenticity was one of the biggest themes of this conference. And the reason for that is partly because we're in the age of AI, right? And there's so much flooding the market in terms of marketing, in terms of online content, social media that's AI generated. And I remember when I was first talking with my daughter about the whole AI thing, and I admit I was a little scared of it at first. She just out of curiosity went and started looking on Amazon for books that were likely AI generated. And she found a yoga book, and the cover of the yoga book had this woman doing an up dog sort of a pose, but it looked like her legs were on backwards. And the anthropometrics were way off. The relationship of the length of her legs to her body, it was absolutely hilarious, this picture. And it was just on the cover, like, here's a yoga book that we want you to buy. Like, nobody checked that this crazy picture was on the front. So it makes you wonder what was inside this book. So since then, I've had a lot of conversations about AI with friends of mine who are in tech, and I now use AI. I use it to more help double check me and like double check my writing, because I've never felt super confident about my writing, because that's why I have my daughter help me with editing. But I also use AI to give me more ideas, but I've also learned that AI can be really, and sometimes it will just make stuff up. And you have to double check everything because it knows absolutely nothing. Well, it knows very, very little about fascia. And it also doesn't do a really great job of finding recent information. Like if you're looking for the most recent information in terms of publications, you have to look differently. You cannot rely on AI for any of that. Now, it is pretty good at, if I give it all the right content, it'll push out an APA citation for me and look really good. So that saves a lot of time. But anyway, the point I want to make is that the theme of the conference, authenticity, was huge. And being yourself on your podcast, being yourself when you deliver your content, being yourself if you write a book, and being yourself when you're with your patients, your clients, being yourself when you're speaking to somebody about what you do. Authenticity is so, so, so important. And there was also a speaker who talked about the psychology of voice, and you can try this at some point, but she gave us tips about how to, before you record a podcast, before you speak into a group, of not just calming yourself down, because a lot of us have fear of speaking. I still do. I speak a lot and I love to speak, but the 2 hours leading up to it, I'm kind of a mess. I'm kind of a mess. But once I get up there and I know people are interested in what I have to say, I absolutely love it. But she was talking about things you can do, not to just calm yourself down, but to can really get yourself in the right mindset and checking yourself in terms of how do you feel about what you're speaking? How do you feel it's going to help people? And then when you focus on that and you sort of create a visual of that, it sort of really changes your voice. And she had a couple people come up on stage and tell the audience who they are and what they do. And then she walked them through a couple little exercises, and then they did it again, and it was massive, the difference. So anyway, I would love to do, if I could have her as a guest or something, I think it would be so great, because I think it would help therapists do better at explaining to clients what they need to know, but also explaining to referral sources and other people about, what you do and why you do it. Just absolutely fantastic. How I feel at this point in my life is I feel more authentic than I ever have. And like I said earlier, I'm kind of a reluctant entrepreneur. I always knew that I wanted to have my own practice and treat clients who have pain and blend my OT skills with my myofascial skills and now all the fascial science skills and all the things I have. But I never intended to build courses online. Creating those courses was not hard for me because of my teaching background. But what has been hard for me is convincing people, convincing therapists that they need the courses that I have. But it does feel very authentic for me. Like I said, when I get up and I talk to people live about it, it's wonderful. And I get amazing, wonderful comments from people. But the course piece that's a whole different ball game, because nobody really wants a course. Nobody wants to sit down and take a course. We have to because of our CE requirements, but we typically want to just get it done and move on, get our license renewed and get it over with. And so that's why I think there's a lot of really big CE companies out there now that offer a whole lot of, an inexpensive membership, and then you can take as many courses as you want. But they're all like 1 or 2 hour courses. I mean, I haven't looked at all of them, but I've looked at many of them. So you get a lot to choose from, but you don't get a lot of depth. And so one of the ways I'm trying to really differentiate what I'm offering is depth. I want to give and offer depth of learning, because that's actually been one of my, I don't even know what to say. One of my frustrations, that's the word I'm looking for, is like when I go to the national conference, and usually when I go with friends who have been around as OTs as long as I have. There's often not a lot of depth unless you want to attend a pre-conference session. And the one and only time I attended a pre-conference session was a lifestyle medicine, and it was, I think, 7 hours long. It was fan-freaking-tastic. It was amazing. But when I just attend the regular conference and it's 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 hours, it still feels really superficial. Like I'm not getting stuff that I can really take home and use. It's more of here's this information for your awareness. But I want to offer stuff that'll take you to a place where you will feel like you can apply it. And that's also a guarantee I offer with my courses. If you take the whole course and you don't feel like there's anything that you can use in your practice, I will very gladly give you your money back. So anyway, I just mostly wanted to tell you about that conference, about authenticity, about how I feel that I am just in this place that I really, really want to be. I love it. I feel like I'm in my zone and I feel authentic. I guess the last thing that I would want to say is there's still a crap ton of vulnerability in this. And one of the things, like especially now when I'm writing the book, is when I start to dive deep again on content and look for my resources and, validate what I'm saying, man, I feel like fascia science, we know so much more than we did, but it's still very much in its infancy and it's just growing so quickly. And when I start searching on a topic, I'm finding things that just came out and it just blows me away. So that's actually one of the things that makes me really nervous about writing a book is by the time this book gets out, there's going to be so much more new information. And I know that's the nature of the beast especially when creating a textbook is everything's always evolving. But I think the speed at which fascia science is evolving is amazing. I think the anatomy and the physiology we definitely have a lot of that down, but how we're going to use all this and practice is, man, that's just going to explode. So anyway, I think I went a lot of different places in this episode, but thank you for those of you who are listening. I'm so grateful for it. I hope everybody has a really great day. Thank you for tuning in to the Fascia-Informed Therapist. It's been a pleasure sharing insights and strategies to help you integrate fascia science into your practice. I'm Amy Mayer, and I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore further and take your therapeutic skills to the next level. Remember, we're committed to creating and providing top-notch, evidence-based, fascia-informed continuing education that empowers you as an occupational therapy practitioner. Stay connected with us for more enriching content, and don't forget to check out our online courses to deepen your expertise. Until next time, keep expanding your knowledge, refining your skills, and confidently applying the science of fascia to your practice. Here's to advancing together in health and wellness.